Hello, all. Welcome to Tech with Tess. WhatsApp is a very famous messaging app worldwide, and there are billions of users who use that every day. So, in case you come across an interview question, being an architect or software developer in your interview, so how do you handle that? So in this video, I will discuss various aspects of designing WhatsApp-like system. So we can see right in the diagram. So I think typical chatting applications, we have at least two users who want to talk to each other, right? So we will have a chat server, uh, whom user A will interact. He or she will send their messages to the chat server. And if the user B is online, they will get the messages right away. But in case user is offline, right, then we have to hold the message, maybe in some transient storage or maybe some database, right, so that once they are back online, they can get the messages which were sent by the user A, right? So this is the typical scenario whenever we use the any application for messaging, right? So now the question comes in front of us that what protocol we have to utilize, because normally in REST APIs we use the HTTPS, right? But in case of applications which are like chatting applications, which protocol we have to use? So here, in general, we use the WebSocket protocol, and the reason behind that is that because in chatting applications, like you are doing a real-time conversation, right? So you need a connection which is open for a long time. So in WebSocket protocol, connection is kept open for a long time. But in when you use HTTPS, it is basically kind of a polling type of protocol. So the request, I mean, the session is like not long-lived, the short-lived session, and connections are closed immediately, but it will keep polling from server. Okay, uh, to verify or check whether any new messages have arrived or not. So, because of like frequent polling of the port or server, it may add to latency. And but our requirement is that users are able to get the messages instantaneously, right? So that's why, in general, whenever we use the chatting application, I mean, to design them, so we normally use the WebSocket protocol, right? Now, let's see that like how the it is growing, right? So because like as we know that there are billions of users which are utilized, which are using the WhatsApp, right? So I have some old data where it shows like hundreds of million people are using WhatsApp, and it is increasing, right? So as a designer, how do you design a system that can sustain a very huge base of customers or users, and then also it's increasing, right? So we have to think about from that perspective that maybe okay, we can design a system which can cater to this requirement, but in case in future if you have millions of users coming extra, right? How do you handle that, right? So these are few things which we have to keep in mind before we basically get a requirement from interviewer doing uh, these interviews, right? So let's see a requirement which you will get from the interviewer, or maybe you can also propose from your own side to them. But like normally, what happens that in design questions, we generally break requirement in two parts. First is the functional requirement, and another is the non-functional requirement, right? So let's see each requirement one by one and understand that. So the first requirement is the conversation. Definitely. So as a design of WhatsApp application, what we want that two users can communicate to each other, or maybe in a group as well. Second is that acknowledgement. Suppose user A has sent some message to user B, he or she should be knowing, okay, whether my message was sent to them or not, to make sure it is acknowledged back. Then sharing. So users also would like to share the images, maybe videos or some documents. So there should be some capability to handle that part as well. Then chat storage. So normally, we store chats like for very small amount of time, because we don't have that much very big storage. We can't afford that, because it's like billions of messages coming to and fro. But in case users are offline, right? So when users are offline, so we have to store the message in some database. So we also have to focus on that. And then whenever there is a message sent to some other user, there should be some notifications going to the system so that they can visit back and check their messages. And let's talk about the requirements which are like non-functional. So definitely we need the low latency, because users are online and they expect in generally that response should come very, very fast. Then consistency. So if one message is sent and they are like so there should be a sequence followed, right? You cannot mix, or like you can change the order of messages. So the messages should be delivered in the same order in which they were typed to the receiver, right? Then availability. Definitely, we need a system which is highly available, because at a given point of time, there will be millions of users who are online. So you have to make sure that you are catering to the requirements. And then security. Definitely, security is of paramount nature. So we have to make sure that a message is read by the only the receiver. Nobody else can intrude in between. Any malicious actor or actor not be able to get the messages, right? So for that, we have to utilize the end-to-end encryption. Now, let's have some assumptions, because whenever you are designing some system, you have to make sure we have some assumptions to start with, right? Maybe assumptions are not totally correct, but you have to assume, because to start from somewhere. So we can assume that, okay, in case of WhatsApp, there are 2 billion users worldwide. It's a big number. Then we have like 100 billion messages exchanged per day between the users, right? Then like for storage point of, right? So we can store the messages maximum for 30 days. So suppose if some user has not come online for for previous 1 month, to delete those messages which were sent to him or her. And then the messages, like each message can take up the 100 bytes on average. I mean, that will vary, because if they send videos or the images, that might take a higher storage, higher space. But in general, you can assume, okay, every message on average can take the 100 bytes. So with these assumptions, right, let's do some back of the envelope calculations, so that we are able to decide like what kind of storage we need, how many servers we need, and how many, like what is the bandwidth we need, right? So those calculations we need to build our infrastructure, because any application which such large number of users will need enormous amount of infrastructure as well to support it, right? So let's see. So first thing is that the how much storage we need, right? So as we had said that there are 100 billion messages exchanged per day, and every message is of 100 bytes. So it means that the storage required per day is 10 terabyte, right? And if you are storing for 30 days, it means that you need at least uh, 300 terabytes per month storage. in your application. Then, so now we know, okay, so 10 TB worth of data is being exchanged every day, right? Suppose only for incoming. So the bandwidth we need is the 10 dB per day upon 86400 seconds in a day, right? So it means that you require 926 megabytes per second of the incoming data bandwidth, right? So you have to have minimum this much bandwidth. Then because you are is only incoming, right? So also for outgoing, right? For outgoing, maybe if you assume the same bandwidth, then just double it. So you need the 1.85 to the gigabits per second to cater to the input-output conversations, right? Then I mean, just to get a ballpark figure about number of servers required, because here things are in billions. So if you assume that you have very strong, very high performing server are there, which can handle at least 10 million connections per server. I mean, this server might not exist, but I just assumed it so that like we have like a number of servers, which is like something practical. Okay. So if we think that number of servers to find out that, right? So uh, total connections per day is 2 billion upon number of connections per server. I assume I say 10 million, right? Maybe it is vary. So in my designing, I have assumed, okay, for to cater this much users and messages, I require at least 200, but I am sure that in real applications, that number will be drastically high. Okay, so this is just to give you a feel, the formula, how we can calculate the number of servers given these data inputs, right? So these are like some calculations which you have to keep in your mind when you are designing a WhatsApp system, right? So now let's see higher design. So how we have like various components here. So you can see that we have a two users, user A and user B, who want to communicate with each other. Then we have load balancer, right? So load balancer is required to divert traffic equally among the various servers. So here we have like WebSocket servers. So there'll be hundreds of servers in this context. Then again, we have a component called WebSocket Manager, right? So what is happening here, right? You see, user A is connected to the system, so you don't know. I mean, he or she might be connected to some server, right? And they'll be assigned some port. But which user is assigned to which port in which server, that information is stored with the manager, right? So we have a web program manager that has all the mappings of the users and their ports and their servers, right? So suppose, for example, user A want to talk to user B. So they will type something in their prompt and they will send it to the system, right? So now maybe he or she is assigned with the WebSocket server 1. So now the responsibility of WebSocket manager is that to find out the mapping or like which port, which server of user B. So once it find out that that information is forwarded back to the this server, now it will connect. Okay, so user A will connect to the port in the WebSocket server 1, and user B have maybe some other servers and ports, but they know, okay, what is the port number and server of user B, so they can communicate. So, uh, so that information, the mapping between the ports and the users and the uh, WebSocket server is held with the WebSocket manager, and for each connection, they are going to basically map both users so that they can talk to each other, right? And and also we have a message service over here. Uh, so in case there are some users who are offline, so in WhatsApp, we use the Nicia data store. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Maybe it is pronounced as Nicia or Amnesia. But yeah, so we have a very special database used for WhatsApp that is called as a amnesia data store, and that makes sure that whatever messages have been sent, they are delivered in the same order. So to make the order correct, like I mean, whatever our order we have sent messages, they are sent back to the receivers and the same order. We use this database, and on top of that, we have message service, right? So whatever messages we want to get or put in database, they are done via the message service. So this manager can talk to the this data store. And also for the recent conversation, right? The conversations which are maybe they are going on or like recently concluded, they will be also part of Redis cache. So we can cache them so that we can get the data quickly. So this is like a typical architecture diagram of WhatsApp system. You can see here the how it is. We have the WebSocket server that utilize the WebSocket protocol, and then we have load balancers between the users and the WebSocket server, and also the load balancers between uh, the manager and the servers, right? And then we have a Redis database, that is cache, and also the data store to store data in case user offline, right? This is like a, how a typical system look like. So I mean, you can explain your things to the interviewer, and maybe if they have questions, they will come back to you. So you can enhance. Maybe till now I just talk about the connections which are like one-to-one connections. So we have like some other like group chat phenomena, how group chat is going to work, and how we are going to handle the files, right? File storage, file upload, and whatever status. So there are many functionalities. So in this, I just talk about the brief, right? Let's see the various APIs which you might have to define to design system. Like the first API is definitely send a message. So here we have a sender ID, receiver ID is very obvious. Then we have a type, right? So what kind of message you are, I mean, it is text or some kind of a video, audio, right? So type of that media, then the text, media object, and document. So these it's like a API signature which you will need to build, right? But in the interview, we generally just give the signatures, right? So what are the signatures of the API? We just provide that. Then we have a get message. So for a given user ID, to get the messages back, you have to utilize this API, that is get message user ID. Then suppose there are file exchanges happening between the users, so you have to upload the file, and similarly you have to use the download a file API as well. Okay, so in this video I have just covered the very basic concept, like when we have a use case between two users talking to each other. But in case you like the video and there are some I mean, if you want like extend the video to cover how the groups or status works in WhatsApp, how to design that part, I can cover as well. But you can, I mean, you can put comments in the comment box, so I will do accordingly. Okay. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Please leave comments or questions. If you like my videos, please share my videos among your friends, colleagues, or the I mean the people who are in software industry, right? So that I can get some subscription and some likings as well. Thank you very much.